What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about what is the difference between futures and basis. So basis is the difference between your local cash grain price and the futures price. So when you're selling to your local elevator and you're wondering, hey, why doesn't my local cash price represent exactly what's happening in the market? The difference between those two is your basis. Basis is often impacted by factors such as local supply and demand, transportation logistics, grain quality, a number of different factors that actually affect your local cash grain price. Now, futures are standardized exchange traded contracts with specific contractual terms depending on the contract. And what these futures are, they're traded on a global transparent market such as CME or CBOT. They're very standardized, and they're impacted by global supply and demand factors. Both of these two, basis and futures, both are components in your local cash price that you'll get. But there's very different factors for both of them, and they can both play an important role in your grain marketing plan. So what is your bias and how should that influence what you do? Well, if your bias is to say, okay, I'm a little bit bullish futures, I think they're going to go up. And based on that, I also think basis is going to strengthen. There's a couple options you have. Number one, you can just store and ignore. Store your grain and wait. Wait for the price to increase. Wait for basis to strengthen. You can also get into a delayed price contract, which means you can sell your grain but wait to actually price it. The other one you can do is a minimum price contract. Usually this is something that's like a put, where you think the price is going to go up, but at least you're protecting your downside a little bit. So if you think the futures price is going to go up, but basis is going to weaken, which often happens because we see an inverse relationship between futures and basis, then you're going to want to lock in a basis contract is one option, because you think basis is going to weaken. So let's go basis only. Leave those futures open that you can price later. You can sell cash and buy futures or buy a call option. So what this does is you sell your cash, deliver it, get some money back, but get back into the market with futures only exposure by buying a call option or going long futures. You think futures is going to increase, think basis is going to decrease. You only want to lock in your basis. Again, minimum price contract is good here. Protect your downside with those puts. Even though you think futures is going to go up, you wanna protect your downside just in case you're wrong. Now, if you think the futures price is going to go down or decrease with basis strengthening, you want to hedge. So you just want to get some sort of hedge on in terms of selling futures, buying put, something to help protect you for when this futures price does decrease and the basis strengthens. But you really only want to hedge on the futures price. A non-roll HTA is a pretty good option as well. You can just lock in your futures price at the elevator as well. Buy a put option. You want to hedge, protect your downside if you think the futures is going to decrease and the basis is going to increase. Leave that basis open. You think it's going to strengthen. If you think both are going to go down, your futures price and your basis, just do a cash sale. Sell it to your local elevator and do a forward contract. Just get it done, because you think you're negative on both. Lock in your basis, lock in your futures, and sell it forward. So what I really want to point out here that's pretty interesting is there's really only one time out of all these different scenarios when you're looking at locking in a cash sale or forward contract now. And that's when you're bearish futures and bearish basis. Yet by far, this is the most common marketing tool you see guys use, because it's easy. It's easy to understand. You can just lock in your cash sale forward. You can lock in basis. You can lock in futures. But really, there's only one scenario where you should be executing these. The rest of the time, you should be looking at executing some sort of mix of risk management strategy that involves a hedge. I'm buying a put, buying a call, shorting futures, or hedging yourself on futures. There's a number of different strategies you should employ depending on what your bias is. So that's it. We discussed a couple strategies, differences between futures and basis, and depending on your bias, what you should actually do.